The weekend is too long, said no student ever. But this is what we want all students to say. We want students to love learning all throughout life. We possess an intrinsic love of learning and are inherently motivated to do so. Humans are curious beings. Let's think about babies, for example. They love touching everything. They touch, feel, pick things up, turn things over, and taste everything they can get their hands on. This is learning. Children do not need to be taught to do this. But somehow, when children become older, their curiosity and love for learning seems to dim, and instead the most prevalent question becomes, will this be on the test? Are schools killing a love for learning? Sadly, for me, the answer is yes. I am not so good at the whole school thing, and I feel like part of this is because I do not have a love for learning. I struggle with understanding material, thinking critically of concepts and theories, and forming my own opinions, things academia is all about. As part of a marginalized people, I have been subject to the systematic injustices in education that favor the dominant group. The overall system of education is unequal, but what can teachers do to alleviate the inherent unequal systems we are embedded in? Can different teaching methods change things around for the urban disadvantaged? I believe so. Montessori education sounds like a bet. The Montessori method, which was developed in Italy by Maria Montessori in the early 1900s, focuses on the fact that children do not need to be forced to learn. The method is characterized by an emphasis on independence, freedom within limits, and respect for a child's natural, psychological, physical, and social development. Montessori is all about having a carefully prepared environment full of sensory and motor materials that develop their cognitive powers through direct experiences. The child, through individual choice, makes use of what the environment offers to develop himself wholly, not just intellectually. This cultivates a child's natural desire to learn. The Montessori method looks very different than traditional schools. It includes mixed-age classrooms, freedom of movement, student choice of work, uninterrupted blocks of time, non-traditional grading system, and a Montessori teacher that is there to guide them, not merely input knowledge. Montessori seeks to meet the child where they are at developmentally and use the child's interests to spark learning. The Montessori method of teaching seems to be the answer. But if Montessori education is as great as it claims, why are Montessori schools more accessible to all children? Although there are Montessori programs for all age groups, Montessori seems to be more focused on early childhood. Providing more programs with age-appropriate suggestions for older students, especially high school students, would be awesome. Also, in the US, there are more than 4,000 private Montessori schools. Sadly, there are only 400 public ones. Therefore, not all children benefit from this powerful educational method. The disadvantaged minority is left behind in the detrimental banking method found at most traditional schools. Taking it a step further, this gives Montessori education a middle-class whiteness. The Montessori method began serving low-income families in the slums of Rome, Italy, and now it serves mostly middle and upper-class European American families in the private sector. I want to see Montessori education flourish in the lives of minority disadvantaged children as well. Beyond the accessibility issue, Montessorians do not always consider the cultural needs of their students. The Montessori teacher training programs and formal Montessori curriculum in this country do not address culturally relevant teaching practices for working with low socioeconomic status students and families. This is sad because the Montessori method of education seems to have all the right tools and philosophy to lead and guide students well in their educational journey. So since Montessori is not really for all children, how can we make it be? Montessorians are realizing this more and more and are fighting to bring Montessori to the public sector and to evolve their practice in positive ways to be more responsive to their students' needs. Let's move towards making Montessori education truly for all children.